Ever wonder how massive companies take this just chaotic flood of raw data? I'm talking millions of customers, endless transactions, and somehow turn it into smart, sharp decisions. Well, the answer is a really powerful and actually surprisingly elegant concept called the data warehouse. So let's dive right in. To really get a feel for what this means, let's start with a story. It's a great one, actually. It's about a company whose whole business is built on understanding people and risk. We're talking about the Isle of Capri casinos, and boy, were they facing a massive, high-stakes challenge. Okay, so here was their big problem. Just try to imagine this for a second. You're running 18 different casinos, and you've got almost 2 million people coming through your doors every year. How in the world do you get a clear picture of any single customer, right? Is the person playing slots over in Mississippi the same person who stayed at your hotel in Missouri last month? If you can't connect those dots, you're not really making decisions, you're just guessing. And in their business, guessing is expensive. Their situation was just a classic case of what we call islands of data. Think about it. Each casino was its own little island with its own separate records. That made it completely impossible to see a customer's total value or their full history with the company. They couldn't predict what a guest might want, which meant their marketing campaigns were slow and super generic. They were, and this is the perfect description, literally drowning in data, but absolutely starved for any real insight. So what's the solution? Well, you've got to connect all those islands. You have to create a single, reliable source of information. In the industry, we call this one version of the truth. And the tool they used to build it was an enterprise data warehouse, basically a system designed from the ground up to pull together data from every single corner of the business. All right, so what is a data warehouse, really? I know, the formal definition up there looks a little intimidating, but let's just break it down. It's subject-oriented. That just means it's organized around a topic, like customer, instead of a business process, like sales. It's integrated, which is key. This means all that messy data from all those different places gets cleaned up and made consistent. It's also time variant, which is just a fancy way of saying it keeps historical data so you can actually spot trends over time. And finally, it's non-volatile. That means once data is in there, it stays there. It's a permanent record, creating this stable foundation you need for good analysis. Okay, this right here really gets to the heart of what makes a data warehouse special. Think about the database that runs the cash register or the hotel check-in desk. That's a transactional database. It is built for one thing, speed. It's all about processing one little transaction at a time, super fast. A data warehouse, it's a completely different beast. Its purpose isn't to run the day-to-day business, it's to analyze the business. It's built for asking those big, complex, messy questions that span huge amounts of historical data. So the big question is, how do you actually get all that messy, disconnected data from all those different islands into one clean, organized central library? I love this analogy. Think of it like a librarian who's just been given books from a dozen different collections, and they all have completely different cataloging systems. It's a huge organizational challenge. Well, it happens through a process with a simple name, ETL. It's 3 steps. First, you extract. You're just gathering up all the raw data from all the different sources, sales systems, hotel records, you name it. Then, and this is the really important part, you transform it. This is the big cleaning step. It's where you standardize everything, making sure state and street are treated as the same thing and all the date formats actually match up. And finally, you load that now clean, consistent data into the central warehouse where it's all ready for analysis. And get this, here's a kind of surprising fact about that whole ETL process. In a typical data warehousing project, that middle step, the T, the transform step, can eat up a staggering 70% of the total time and resources. Yeah, 70%. It turns out that just getting data clean and consistent is, by far, the hardest part of the entire job. Okay, so let's circle back to our casino story. After all that work, all that effort building their big enterprise data warehouse, what was the payoff? I mean, did creating this single version of the truth actually help them play a winning hand? Oh yeah, the results were absolutely dramatic. They went from struggling to crank out maybe 5 slow monthly reports for each property to generating around 150 reports every single day. Just think about that shift. It meant they could see what was happening almost in real time instead of waiting weeks to look back at what already happened. And the efficiency gains were just huge. For example, the time it took them to build their direct mail marketing campaigns was cut in half, 50%.
So instead of these slow, clunky processes, they could suddenly create really targeted campaigns for specific groups of customers, almost on the spot.
And this wasn't just some big win for the executives in the back office. This quote from a casino host really shows you the impact it had right on the front lines. Hosts could now get an automatic notification the second a high-value guest checked into the hotel. That allowed them to go out and provide that really personal service, building much stronger relationships. It's a game changer. And really, the benefits just rippled out across the entire business. They could finally compare performance between their properties apples to apples. They could create smarter incentive programs that were actually tailored to the games people love to play. And they could even start to understand their retail customers, a whole group of people that before this had been completely invisible to them.
So the Isle of Capri's story is just this fantastic, powerful example of what a data warehouse can do. But here's the thing. This isn't a new idea. Not at all. This whole concept has been evolving for decades, constantly changing and adapting to new tech and new business needs.
And this timeline really tells the whole story. Back in the 70s, all the data was locked away on these giant mainframe computers. Then the 80s hit, PCs were everywhere, and suddenly we had that islands of data problem we talked about. The 90s is really when the data warehouse was born as the big solution. By the 2000s, the focus started to shift from just analyzing the past to making decisions in real time. And now, in the era of big data, these systems are more powerful and more essential than they've ever been.
Now, what's interesting is that there isn't just one way to build a data warehouse. The field has these two major, kind of competing philosophies. You've got the architect approach from a guy named Bill Inman. He says you should go top-down, build the huge, single, enterprise-wide warehouse first to guarantee consistency. Then you have the builder approach from Roth Kimball. He says, no, go bottom up. Start small with individual department data marts to get some quick wins, and then connect them later. One is all about corporate consistency. The other is all about speed. And honestly, both have their pros and cons.
And all of this brings us to a final, and I think kind of provocative thought. We started this whole conversation with the idea of a warehouse as a tool to analyze the business, after the fact. But think about today. Data is flowing in real time. Decisions have to be made instantly. So what happens when the data warehouse isn't just analyzing the business anymore? What happens when it becomes the business, automatically driving actions in the moment? That's the future we are